Okay, so we're picking up where we left off from last time. We're on Genesis 47. Then Joseph went to see Pharaoh and told him, "My father and my brothers have arrived from the land of Canaan. They have come with their flocks and their herds and their possessions, and they are now in the region of Goshen." Joseph took 5 of his brothers with him to present them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh asked his brothers, "What is your occupation?" They replied, "We are your servants and shepherds, just like our ancestors. We have come to live here in Egypt for a while, for there is no pastures in our flocks in Canaan. The famine is so severe there. Please, we request your permission to live in the region of Goshen." And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and your brother have joined you here, choose any place in the entire land of Egypt for them to live. Give them the best of the land of Egypt. Let them live in the region of Goshen, and if they have any special skills, put them in charge of the livestock too." And Joseph brought his father Jacob in the presence of Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. "How old are you?" Pharaoh asked him. Jacob replied, "I have traveled the earth for 130 hard years, but my life has been short compared to the lives of my ancestors." Then Jacob blessed Pharaoh again before leaving his courts. So Joseph assigned the best of the land of Egypt to the region. So Joseph assigned the best of the land of Egypt, the region of Ramesses, to his father and his brothers to settle them there. And then it says, just as Pharaoh had commanded, and Joseph provided food for his father and his brothers in the amount appropriate for the number of their descendants, including the small ones. Meanwhile, the famine became so severe that all the food was used up and the people were starving throughout the land of Egypt and Canaan. By selling grains to the people, Joseph eventually collected all the money of Egypt and Canaan. And he put the money into Pharaoh's treasury. When the people of Egypt and Canaan ran out of money, the Egyptians came to Pharaoh. "Our money is gone," they cried, "but please give us food, or we will die right before your eyes." Joseph replied, "Since your money is gone, bring me your livestock. I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So they brought the livestock to Joseph in exchange for food. And they exchanged their horses, their flocks, their sheep, their goats, their herds, and their cattle, and their donkeys. Joseph provided them with food for another year. But that year ended, and the next year came, saying again, "We cannot hide the truth from you, my lord. Our money is gone, and our livestock and cattle are yours. We have nothing left to give you but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your very eyes? Buy us our land in exchange for food, and we will offer you ourselves as your slaves for Pharaoh. Just give us the grain so that we may live and not die, and so that our land will not become empty and desolate." So Joseph brought all of the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. All the Egyptians sold their fields because of the famine was so severe, and soon all the land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he made slaves from one end of Egypt to the other. Only the land that he did not buy was the land that belonged to the priests that received the allotment of the food directly from Pharaoh. So they didn't need to sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Look, today I have bought you and your land for Pharaoh. I will provide you with seed so you can plant fields. Then you will harvest it. 1/5 of your crops will belong to Pharaoh. You may keep the remaining of the 4/5 as the seed for your fields and the fruits for your household and the little ones." "You have saved our lives," they exclaimed. "May it please you, my lord, to let us be Pharaoh's servants." Joseph then issued a decree, which is still in effect in the land of Egypt, that Pharaoh should receive 1/5 of all the crops grown in the land. Only the land belonging to the priests was not given to Pharaoh. Meanwhile, the people of Israel settled in the region of Goshen in Egypt. There they acquired property and they were fruitful, and their population grew rapidly. Jacob lived for 17 years after his arrival in Egypt, so he lived for 147 years. As the time of his death grew near, Jacob called for his son Joseph and told him, "Please do me this one favor. Put your hand under my right thigh and swear to treat me with your unfailing love by honoring my last request. Do not bury me in Egypt. When I die, please take my body out of Egypt and bury me with my ancestors." So Joseph promised, "I will do as you asked." "Swear that you will do it," Jacob insisted. So Joseph gave his oath. And Jacob bowed humbly at the head of his bed. And we will stop there, and we'll pick up tomorrow. And that was the end of Genesis 47:31.